Okay, so in this lesson, we're going to talk about multiplying and dividing fractions. So let's start with a simple example. Let's suppose that we have 1/2 times 1/3. Okay, so to multiply these fractions, you just multiply across the numerator and across the denominator. So multiplying across the numerator, we have 1 times 1 is equal to 1. And multiplying across the denominator, 2 times 3 is equal to 6. Pretty straightforward, right? Okay, so let's take a look at another example. Let's say we have 2/3 times 3/4. So following the same rule, we multiply across the numerator and we get 2 times 3 is equal to 6, and 3 times 4 across the denominator is 12. So we have 6/12. Now remember, we can reduce this, so this reduces to 1/2. Okay, 6 goes into 6 one time, 6 goes into 12 two times. Okay, now let's throw in a whole number and a negative number. Let's say that we have 2 times -1/4. Okay, so we need to do something about the whole number first. So we're going to rewrite the whole number as a fraction. So 2 is equivalent to 2/1. Okay, and we're going to multiply that by -1/4. I'm just writing the second term again. Okay, and here the rule is still the same. We're going to multiply across the numerator. So it's going to be 2 times -1, which is -2. And then across the denominator, 1 times 4 is 4. Now remember that negative sign could be in the numerator, in the denominator, or right at the divisor. It doesn't matter as long as there's only one negative number, the value is still the same. Now -2/4 reduces to -1/2. Okay, so that's your answer. Let's do another example. Let's say we have -3/8 times 1/2. So we do the same thing again. We multiply the -3 by 1 across the numerator and we get -3. And then multiply across the denominator. 8 times 2 is 16. And that is our answer. Let's try another example with a mixed number. Okay, here's what I mean. Let's suppose we have 2 1/3 times 3 1/5. Okay, so what we need to do is change each of the terms into improper fractions. Okay, improper fraction is when the numerator is larger than the denominator. And to do that, we're going to multiply, in the first term, we're going to multiply 2 times 3 plus 1, which is the numerator, and we get 7/3. Okay? If you remember, we're going to multiply 2 times 3 first, and then we're going to add 1 to get 7/3. Okay? Times, and then we do the same thing for the second term. We're going to multiply 3 times 5 and then add 1 So 3 times 5 is 15, plus 1 is 16. We keep the denominator, okay? Now we multiply like we did in the original problem. So multiply across the numerator. 7 times 16 is 112. And then 3 times 5 is 15. Okay? And can 112 over 15 be reduced? Let's see. No, it cannot. Okay? Factors of 15 are 3 and 5. 3 does not go into 112 evenly. And 5 does not go into 112 evenly. So therefore, 112 over 15 is your answer. Okay? Some problems will require you to change this into mixed numbers. So you may have to rewrite this into a mixed number. So 15 goes into 112 how many times? Let's take a look. 112 divided by 15. So we're going to estimate 15 goes into this number by 7. And we get 105 with a remainder of 7. Okay? So this means that this value is also 7 and 7/15. So either one of these answers is correct. So far, all of those examples were multiplying fractions. What happens when we divide fractions? Well, let's take a look at an example. Let's say we have 1/2 divided by 1/3. Okay? So dividing by fractions is actually pretty simple. All you need to do is remember this rule. 1/2 divided by 1/3 is the same as 1/2 times 3 over 1. Okay? So all we did was we changed the division sign into a multiplication sign, and we turned 1/3 and we flipped it around. So now the 3's on top and the 1's on the bottom. Okay? So dividing by a fraction is the same thing as multiplying by its reciprocal. When we flip the numbers around so that the denominator becomes a numerator and the numerator becomes the denominator, that's called the reciprocal. Okay? And then once you have that set up, you just multiply across like we did before to get your answer. So 1 times 3 is 3. 2 times 1 is 2. So your answer is 3/2, or you can change this into a mixed number, which is 1 and 1/2. Okay? Now let's throw in a negative number and see what happens. Let's suppose we've got 1/5 divided by negative 1/6. Well, we still follow the same procedure as we did in the previous problem. So this becomes 1/5 times, and we do the reciprocal, right? We flip it around, and we get negative 6 over 1. Now we just multiply across the numerator and then multiply across the denominator. So 1 times negative 6 is negative 6. 5 times 1 is 5. And negative 6/5 is your answer. Or, to put it in mixed number mode, it is negative 1 and 1/5. Okay? Now I'm going to throw in one more example. Let's throw in a mixed number. Let's suppose we have 3 1/3 divided by 1 1/2. And let's make that negative. Okay? Well, first we need to do is change both terms into improper fraction. Okay, so again, we're going to multiply these two numbers, 3 by 3, and then add this number. So 3 times 3 is 9, plus 1 is 10, so we have 10 thirds. Okay, we're going to keep the division sign right now and keep it as divided by, and we're going to change the term on the inside of the parentheses. We'll multiply -1 by 2, and then we add 1. Okay, so it's going to be -1. Actually, we're going to multiply 1 by 2 first. We're going to keep the negative sign outside for a second. Okay, it's going to be 1 times 2, which is 2, plus the 1 is 3. So we get 3 over 2, but we need to keep the negative sign, so we add that back in. Okay, you notice what I did a little bit differently here. When there's a negative mixed number, when we change it into an improper fraction, we're going to set the negative number aside for just a second. Do our arithmetic, right? Multiply the whole number in the denominator, add the numerator, get the improper fraction all set up, then put the negative sign back in. Okay, now we're going to rewrite this so that it becomes 10 thirds, and we're going to multiply by the reciprocal, so now it's -2 thirds. Okay, now it's just multiplying across, so 10 times -2 is -20. 3 times 3 is 9. Okay, so -29ths, or if we want to change this into a mixed number, it would be -2 and 2/9. Okay, either one of these answers would be correct. Okay, so now you know how to multiply and divide fractions. If any of this was unclear, make sure you go back to the video and review this lesson again. Thank you.